see. Okay. Yeah, I don't see any a recording thing on my end.
Okay. No, don't worry about it. We're good then. So let me lead in real quick. Welcome back to Film Noobs. Today we have a good friend of ours. We've talked about his film before, but we've never really talked to him. Luckily today we are able to, because of this quarantine BS, take advantage of that. Scott, how you doing?
Good. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad you look good, man. I mean, it looks like the quarantine's treating you well. How's everything on your end?
We're doing good, man. Like I said, we're quarantined, kind of, stay at home, enjoy all the food, all the snackety snacks. So if I look good, it's because I'm getting fatter. How about our young? How's everything going?
It's going good. Stocking up on food and weirdly enough, toilet paper. I don't even know why, to be honest with you. I don't know why we're getting toilet paper. It seems like we'll be all right. We didn't eat Chipotle, so it's going good. I'm actually editing my third feature film. So I mean, I guess I don't know how to say this. I guess the quarantine is working for where I'm at mentally right now.
Okay, cool. Let's talk about that, man. I know the first time we got introduced to you was when you were doing your first film or your first feature film, right? Which is Mandao. Second feature.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that. Your second feature, which was Mandao the Dead. It was an instant cult film. Everybody loved it. You went hot. You were even at the San Diego ComicCon. And then you took like maybe a small break, and then right as soon as you did that, you came right back, did the Kickstarter, had a great run with Kickstarter, raised enough money, did the filming. Luckily enough, you finished the filming right before this whole quarantine BS, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
That was
so let's talk about all this awesomeness that you've had for the last year and a half, man.
Well, Mandao of the Dead is definitely what you would call a passion project. I've enjoyed these characters since high school. I made these characters up in high school, and so I brought them back for this astral projection time travel movie, Mandao of the Dead, and we had a lot of fun. We've been meeting a lot of great people like yourself and all the guys at Film Noobs, and different people who are generous enough to watch the movie and enjoy it. It's been a really cool year. And like you said, the Kickstarter was its own thing. Our goal was $20,000 for the sequel to Mandao of the Dead, Mandao Returns. Yeah. We ended up raising $26,509. And I mean, that felt great. It's like, wow, we get to make a sequel. Cause I remember on the first movie, we were always talking, all the actors and crew, we were always talking about like, oh, what would happen next? Ideas of the sequel. So yeah, we shot the movie in at the end of February into March, right before SAG shut down all of the productions. So I'm feeling pretty lucky, blessed, what have you, just to be having a full movie in the can before all this craziness started. I know there were some productions that got shut down in the middle of their production, and I'm so, I feel so bad for them, but feeling very thankful to have something to edit on our end.
Cool. Now let's go back a little bit. For like, I know you did a YouTube, which we'll talk about all your links and everything. But on your YouTube, you were talking about how surreal it was to wake up one day and lo and behold, you're going to San Diego ComicCon. Out of your second feature, which you thought, like you said, it's a passion project. Most of us who do passion projects, they're like, oh, I'm going to do it because I want to do it, but I don't think it'll ever get anywhere. But you happen to bottle that, lightning and be able to like cash in and be like, oh, wow, dude, it went somewhere. So how was that for you?
Oh, fantastic. It was fantastic. It's one of those things, I kind of didn't think it was gonna be seen anywhere in a festival or in a live venue. I kind of resigned to it's going to be on Amazon and people will be watching this movie online. I just kind of figured that's it. When San Diego let us in, I was very excited, but at the beginning, I just was so I was so flat, just like, wow, this is great. But I wasn't ready for it. I was in shock as we went to San Diego, meeting all these people. We were in the streets handing out flyers and getting people to come to our screening. So we were on the streets. I have nothing but happy memories of that. I mean, it's just any filmmaker who's in the indie scene. I mean, anytime you get to show your movie at a place like San Diego ComicCon, I mean, it is a dream come true. We were so thankful, and I was so glad to share it with the cast and crew. They came out there too. It was a blast. And it made me think, I wanted to do a sequel anyway, just for fun, but it was like, this could be fun. It'd be great to show the sequel at San Diego Comic-Con. We also went to LA Comic-Con as well.
Okay.
And we feel really blessed to be a part of that and to show our movie there.
Awesome. I know, Jonathan from Movie Mac and we were talking like 2-3 days ago when we did the first video interview and stuff, because we were just trying it out. We're like, man, dude, we feel responsible. I don't care what anybody says. We feel responsible for putting that little tick in his head about doing the sequel. We're like, yeah, we're just gonna be responsible. We don't care if he says yes or no. So it was one of those things like we kept pushing because we really loved your film. When we first saw it, we both talked about it. He's in Pennsylvania, I'm here in Texas and whatnot. And we're like, dude, this is a movie that you could see anywhere and it's still relevant. It's like my first feature film was really niched. So we had a hard time pushing it out there. I mean, it's now that it's kind of picking up now, but it's still kind of slow. Unlike yours is like, it could be anywhere. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And it's one of those like, it's relevant. And making it relevant makes it a bigger audience or a better audience. You know what I mean?
Wow. Thank you so much for that. And I you know what? I give you guys all credit, honestly, because, like if no one really cared about the first movie and no one said anything like, hey, what's the sequel going to be like you guys, who knows? Maybe we wouldn't have had the confidence to make it and try and do a Kickstarter. So thank you guys for that. I appreciate it.
Cool. Now I have a question, because a lot of us, again, indie guys, we do our Kickstarters and fail. With you, it was different. You did your Kickstarter and you overproduced what you wanted to do. Do you think because you had the audience and you had done so much work, i.e., San Diego Comic-Con, LA Comic-Con, and just all these other people that were feeding into the fact that we loved the film, did that make it easier? Or, I mean, how do you think that all culminated?
I think that it helped the confidence. I think if you have a little bit of confidence anywhere, I think it can make you feel galvanized to do what you want to do. I mean, I wanted to do it. Hearing people liking it and saying, hey, this is good, this is interesting, this is something that I would like to see a sequel to. That helps. I mean, it totally helps. If no one said that, we wouldn't have made a second one. We wouldn't have gone through the stress of doing Kickstarter. The thing is, a few years back, I launched a Kickstarter for another movie. I was, I hadn't even made, I don't think, my first movie. Maybe I made one movie at that point.
Yeah.
And we launched a Kickstarter and failed so hard. We tried to raise, I don't know, I think it was like $40,000. We ended up getting $3,000 in pledges. So it was, one of those. So we failed before this movie. So
yeah.
So I think, it's good to hear people encouraging us to do a sequel and enjoying the first movie, but also it's that failure of the first movie that I tried to raise money for on Kickstarter. That failure is like, I can't fail again. And my wife too, we both did this together. And it was more like, oh man, I don't want to fail again. That hurt. That was, it was that pain. It was like, let's just do everything we can to make sure we don't fail. And we actually hired a consultant too for our Kickstarter, because we were like, let's do this. Let's be educated about this. There was so much we didn't know about Kickstarter. So, yeah, I guess it was just about wanting to prove that we wouldn't fall flat on our face this time.
Awesome. And now I know you've written both first and second one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the writing process. What's your writing process? Because I know everybody has their own, like, oh, I sit there, get high, and write. Or people will be like, oh no, I wake up in the middle of the night and just I write. What inspires you to keep going or to write sequel? After having that one cult film.
There was a drive to do more. Like I personally, I'm kind of a fan of these characters, and I kept talking incessantly about like, well, what's next with my wife and people. And after a while, it's just like, why don't I just start making the sequel? My process is more like, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know what my process is other than let's get this done. I have some ideas. I'll basically annoy my wife with ideas. Like, she's like, just write it.
Yeah.
And so I go there, and then once it starts getting good, you keep going. I don't really have too much of a process. I actually like having movies I've watched a million times on in the background as like a washing through my brain. Like some people listen to music. I liked having, movies I've seen a million times that I don't have to watch closely.
Yeah.
I like having those
you
on.
Hear them, you know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's what I like to do, and just get lost. But the thing about scripts for me, dude, is that I know that I have a small budget to work with. Okay. And so I kind of write them to that. I think a lot of people think that's kind of a bad thing to do. Oh, dude, you should never hinder yourself with your screenwriting, go big or go home. I'm like, well, I think it's not a bad thing to tailor your script to what you're going to have the funds for. I think it's a good challenge. I don't think it actually hinders us too much. I mean, there's things I'd love to do that we can't afford, but I like writing with this kind of constrained budget for now on these movies. I will say this though, the next movie would be nice to have more money because these
always. Yeah.
But it's a fun I like writing. I like every process of the filmmaking. Writing is cool because you get to get insular and come up with all these ideas. And my first drafts are terrible, and then they start getting a little better.
Now let's talk about characters, because you said you love the characters. I know when we talked originally on the review, all of us here at Film News were like, dude, Cousin Andy. I'm looking down because I'm looking at my phone. I wanted to make sure that I had everybody's name, but Cousin Andy was one of our favorites. His character was just, it was unique. You know what I mean? But do you tailor your characters around people or do you like, oh, I'm just going to put a little bit here, a little bit there, or just something off the wall? I mean, character build.
A little bit of both, actually. Like Cousin Andy, my actual cousin's name is Andy. So we shot that first movie, just to give you a little backstory. We shot that first movie all the way. I edited like an hour's worth of it, and I saw I needed something, an ingredient.
Yeah.
And that turned out to be the character of Cousin Andy. I mean, I used my Cousin Andy's name, but this guy, Sean Liang, who plays Cousin Andy, he auditioned for the role of Darth in Mandao 1. And he's just great. I mean, I had the same reaction as you guys did, which is he's freaking funny, charming. He's got this great energy. You just like him.
Yeah.
So when it was time to be like, I got to fix this in post, I thought about that guy. And we called him up. It's like, hey, dude, I got this new character for you. Would you be down to come in for a day and shoot all your scenes? He was so down. And I don't regret it at all. In fact, for the sequel, I wrote him a bigger part. And he killed it, by the way. I mean, he was so great. He's a smart actor. He's a smart actor. He's one of those guys. I saw his binder with my script in it. he marked up all these things, had all these notes. And I said to him one day, I was like, man, you know what? You're a smart actor. You're someone who comes to the set with with ideas that are helpful to the filmmaker too. I really appreciate him. Yeah. It's great. I'm sorry. I might have gotten off topic there, but I think
no. You're good. You're good. I like off topic because that just gets the ball rolling for other things. So don't worry about ever getting off topic.
All right.
Now, I know I had texted you or I had called you out on Twitter about the name and all the products, the little product placement you have. Let's talk about a little bit of that. The little green, what is it?
The little cereal box guy.
Yeah.
We call him Monty the Monster.
Monty the Monster, okay.
Yeah, we made him, we Frankensteined him from a few different toys, but we made him our own and painted him. So everything you see is from our imagination. But yeah, that was cool. We actually sold some plush dolls of him too.
Yeah,
and my mother-in-law, right. But it was on my YouTube channel. You can check out the actual making of it. My mother-in-law helped. My wife helped. It was really great. Yeah, this movie, I don't know what it is. I think it's the cereal box thing. It reminds me of when I was growing up watching cereal box, like cereal commercials. And I was like, I don't even know why that's in the movie. I just like it. It's cozy. I don't know.
Yeah. It's almost like when you're talking about us that are geek and whatnot. It's like the cereal box is mint, and then he opens it up and you're like, oh, dude, I'll never be able to find another box. This was the last box off the the production line. I mean, so little quirks and that you find through the film. I'm sorry, my cat's over here.
Oh no.
But those little quirks that were part of the film is what allows you to kind of even love the characters more, because now you're associating those facts. That it's like, oh, dude, I do that with my mint in box, whatever. You know what I mean? Like me and my posters back here, they were in a marquee somewhere. You know what I mean? So they're actually from an actual theater. I didn't buy them just because whatever, but I'm real anal about that. So when I saw that in your film, that the whole, don't touch it, don't open it, why'd you open it? I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So that was another level of character building that you had there. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
And then I saw you with the plushies when you did the Kickstarter, and you also did the, what is it? Did you do VHS?
Yeah. That was fun. That was fun. It's a piece of art. I mean, when you actually watch the VHS, it's cool, but it's definitely not as clear as Blu-ray. Obviously, but the art of a VHS. I mean, it's hard not to like it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was at a Goodwill recently. I like going there and looking for DVDs.
Uh-huh.
But they had this whole wall of VHSs. They had this Batman one that looked like mint condition, the first '89 Batman.
Oh wow.
Oh, it looked great. I mean, it was like 50 cents, and I'm an idiot because I didn't buy it. I was like, I don't have a VHS. I should just bought it. What the heck?
Yeah, you should have just bought it. Yeah.
And then Jurassic Park too. So, I mean, I feel all those 80s, 90s things, like it touches my heart. It makes me feel nostalgic. So, yeah, that's why I guess that's why it's in the movie.
Okay. Now, I did go back because I was trolling you a little bit before we got on. I went to your mandaofilms.com to try to see if I could find again the plush or the Blu-ray, DVD, something. Nothing. What's going on with that, man?
We are out. Like, we're out. So, and we just haven't re-upped. I think that's a good place to be. I think
excellent place to be.
Yeah. We were getting sales in Norway and the UK and places like that. So, I mean, it was kind of crazy. It was just like, wow, why are people, buying this? Like, it feels good. Let me just say, it feels good. We'll probably re-up those things on store soon. We're trying to figure out, right now it's all about the sequel, getting that edited. But we're going to be gathering the storm soon and re-upping some of those items in the store. So.
Any other things you're going to add there, or
yeah, there should be, but I don't know exactly what there is. I want to do this cool promotion where you get the cereal box, a Blu-ray inside, a plush doll, and maybe a toy and a booklet or something. I want to do this big packaging thing.
Oh man, that'd be neat. Yeah, open up the cereal box and everything's in there.
Yeah,
but then I wouldn't want to open the box.
I know.
I'd have to buy like 2 of them.
You're gonna get 2, and then, or we can do a thing where you can just buy the empty cereal box and separate items. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, you see, those are kind of things that out of the box, or yeah, it's a pun, but yeah, out of the box thinking that actually makes that uniqueness of your film, because now you have the film, you have the quirky little things. It's all together, and it just seems like you said that passion projects keep showing itself rather than, oh, I'm just gonna make a film, make money. No, this is like you were saying. It's your family is involved. Your wife's there. She's supporting you. They're all making plushies for you. It's awesome, And so to get to see all that process, to get to meet you, to get to see, the first film and now your second film, which we are excited. And I'm going to ask you kind of give us a little bit of rundown, if you can, about what we can expect for the second film.
Yeah, the first one was on Halloween, so I thought the second one would be cool on Christmas. This one takes place around Christmas time, 2 months later. This one, not to give too much away, is about this recently deceased actress who heard about Jay Mandao's ability to kind of travel back in time and reverse things. So she kind of hires the gang to see if they can help reverse her death. And things spiral out of control. I'm very excited. Like living in Hollywood, this kind of storyline to me, like it just was fun to shoot. Very fun to shoot. Yeah.
Now that's it. Now that you mentioned about the Hollywood thing, and you had mentioned earlier about SAG. How many of you all are SAG or SAG eligible or whatnot? Because you said that SAG pretty much shut everything down there.
Yeah. All the actors are SAG, me included. Everyone is SAG. So, yeah, I mean, we narrowly escaped that, like 2 or 3 days before they shut everything down. It was crazy. One thing though was our wrap, like on the last shot, after we shot our last shot, we all celebrated with some Corona beers. So it was nice. We had our own little Corona party.
Your Corona party.
Yeah.
Now, from the first film, passion project, not too much money involved, versus the second film, you had a budget, a nicer budget. You had a little bit more cushion, to do somewhat what you want to do. What was the difference between you as a director and you as a person who's created this world? I mean, do you find it easier now that you have the budget? Do you find it harder, more frustrating? Or was it one of those things like, I didn't have the budget, I got creative, I made it happen? I mean, you've seen both sides of the house, brother.
Well, I thought that it was going to be much easier. I thought it was going to be, much easier, but it was the same as the first one, like fast, very fast, sometimes questioning, like, wow, are we getting it? Like, I don't even remember what I just shot. It wasn't a luxury at all. I'll be honest with you, because that money goes to places. The first one cost $13,000 to film the movie, and then that it was money to do post production. So it was more than $13,000. So I mean, this money that we raised, $26,509, that helped. Not coming from our own personal fund, I guess. Our own personal fund always comes into these.
Oh, it always does, yeah. Regardless.
Right, you know that. But it was fast. It was so fast, man. There were some days where I was like, I gotta quit. I gotta quit. I gotta quit. This is so fast. Like, this happened on the first movie too. But I'm just being honest with you. It's not like everything was clicking into place. It took a lot of work to just keep up with the pace of it. But I'm pretty sure that's every movie ever. So, yeah, I guess I'm just trying to communicate the fact that it's always hard. It's always fast. You're always scared. I'm scared every time. The first day I'm always sweating. Like, oh man, I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while since we've shot, but I think what Kickstarter really did was like, wow, people got together and put their hard-earned money into this film. I can't be more thankful to people who did that. I guess what it did, it boosted confidence a little bit.
Okay.
Boosted confidence. Yeah.
Now let's talk about that part, because I know you were saying the first day of filming, and I hear you, because from my first film, I couldn't sleep that night. Before camera was up, it was my first time directing. It was my first film, and I was like, man, why should these people listen to me? Why should they even care about what I have to say or what I have to do, or even if the film's gonna get done? Because a lot of times, you know this, there's a lot of indie guys out there that start a film halfway through. You even said it right now. You get that frustration, that overwhelming because you're halfway, and they quit. You know what I mean? How's your feelings about that?
Oh, I mean, I think it's totally normal and okay to want to quit, but I think quitting is absolutely not an option. Yeah, it's just not an option. I mean, like, first of all, I don't want to sound like a quitter because I just never quit on these movies, but I want to be honest about the psyche of it. Like, oh shit, oh no, we're behind. You know, one thing I will say, this is our third feature film, and when we were going behind, even though I wanted to quit, it was more like, oh man, this is stressful. What that means is like, this is stressful. I need to take a moment, get some coffee, and then keep going, because we know what it's worth it. You know, it's worth it. You know, it's worth it to do these movies because we had so much fun on this one, on the last one, and this one. We laughed so much. I have a feeling it's going to be funnier. Just the camaraderie was so like on point. I mean, I'm so excited. So when I say quitting, all I really mean is it got stressful to the point where I needed some coffee and I wanted to sleep, but I didn't. You know, yeah, I did it again. But what was the question on that?
That's right. We were just talking about how from day one it is that stress that you like, not knowing what's gonna happen. Halfway through, you're overpressured because like what you're saying is like, dude, it's too much. Because now you're halfway through, you have all this other stuff that's pending, but you don't know if you got it. I mean, it's just so much going on in your head, and you're like, fuck, dude, I want to just. You're right. You're yelling and saying, I want to quit. I can't stand this shit no more. But you just need a breather. You need to step back and be like, fuck it, I got this.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. And I think a lot of it has to do with cast and crew. If you've got some good peeps, like I think the only reason these movies are good is because of cast and crew. Like my DP and my sound guy, they're so great. They're so great. I know that I don't have to have the whole thing on my own shoulders. The actors are so funny and great, and they care. They're helping. So, you know, after you breathe a little bit and you realize this is our third go around, we're okay. We've got great people. You start, you know, not freaking out too much.
With your cast, how'd you go about doing that? I mean, bring them the initial casting to pushing them to this next film. What was the process of all that for you?
Okay, so the first movie, Jackson, the guy who plays Jackson, his name is Sean McBride. I knew him from acting class years before. And so I was like, oh, that guy would be great. And he worked on a movie before with us called Schlep. So he was cool. My wife, same thing. We've all worked together. Everyone else was a traditional casting process. Mm-hmm. They came in and I would ad-lib with them while filming them and just found some really great people. You know, one thing I will say is I have a good sense for, I love actors. I love actors and I love what they do. So I become a fan. I can tell when I'm a fan of someone in the room. I'm like, oh, okay, that's going to be a fun person to work with. That's how we gathered most of Sean Liang, the cousin Andy, Darth, Maeve, my father in the movie, Raymond Mandao. All of them were through traditional casting. So we all had a good time making the first movie. For the second one, I just simply asked the people who were returning if they're down, and yes, they were.
Of course. It's a fun movie. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. In fact, actually, the second movie, no one was cast the traditional way. People were returning, and the two new cast members were people that actually, the new villainess, or the actress, the dead actress, she is the wife of Darth from the first movie, David Gallegos. And she's a wonderful actress. She has a huge YouTube following. She does these great characters. And we were really lucky to get her on this new movie. So, the new characters are going to be fun. They're going to be fun. If you like the first movie, I think you're going to really enjoy these new characters.
Okay. Yeah. Again, going back to the first movie, because we haven't gotten a sneak peek yet. But I'm kind of throwing it out there, like, hey, no, I'm just kidding. Good idea. Like some of the scenes, planned or unplanned. When he starts beating down the little tent with the broom.
Yeah.
Planned or unplanned?
Planned.
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 And the reason I asked is because, and this is something that we had talked about with Film Noobs when we were here, a lot of the scenes or a lot of the acting seems really, really natural. It doesn't seem pushed. It doesn't seem planned, as we would say. And only because, like you were saying, that the actors are really, really good. They're actors. How is it for you, ad-libbing or kind of going off your script? Is that something that you do, or?
Oh, yeah. I like to let people do whatever they want as long as it fits, like the storyline, as long as it's not too outlandish. I think a lot of that gets worked out in rehearsals, though. On my first movie, I didn't rehearse, not Mandao, the movie before, Schlep.
Yeah.
I didn't rehearse at all with my actors it took 3 tries to make that movie, and I just learned so much. Long story short is that rehearsal is so important to me personally. I think a lot of filmmakers can get a lot of benefit out of that. Like you don't have any time. You have like 10 days to make a movie. If you're trying to rehearse on set on the day, I mean, that'll kill you. It'll kill you. It killed me on my first attempt doing Schlep. And I learned from that day on, which was get your actors together, work it out, including me, because I'm in the movie,
Yeah.
So I need to know what I'm doing because I got to focus on those actors more during the filming. So basically, I would just say rehearsal is one of the best things I learned, and it seems obvious, kind of, but it isn't always. Rehearsal is where we learn, where we get the lines and the blocking, and if someone has a good idea, it comes up there, and it gets implemented into the movie. I mean, and then on the day, sometimes there is ad-libbing there, and if it works, it works. I'm never I don't want to get in the way of people's ad-libbing and creative input. I love it.
Okay. Now, I know you said you had, and you work like many of us in the independent scene. We work with constraints. I.e., you said you work with, you have the house, because that was either your house or a friend's apartment or whatever from the first one. We're talking about the first one because I don't know anything about the second one.
Right.
So, being that you have a house and you said you have rehearsals, do you have rehearsals there, or is it a table read, or how do you go through that?
No table read. I was on this Disney show kicking it a long time ago, 2014. And I remember doing a table read, a nice formal table read. And I hated it because we're sitting and I'm like, I'm not even, most of the things we're doing in this show is like action oriented. And I just felt so awkward, like trying to sit down and have the energy. So no, we didn't do a table read. They would come over to Gina and I's apartment. We had this, at the time, a very small studio apartment. and they would come there and we would literally work the scene, workshop it, get up on our feet, see the blocking. I like to think of it as much more involved and creative process. Sitting at a table makes me feel nervous, so we don't really do that. But they come over and to the house and we do that. For the first movie, the apartment was our friend's apartment, and then the house was rented off of a place called Gigster. Okay. So that was 4 days there and then 5 days at the apartment. Yeah.
Man, you really like kicked that one out quick.
Yeah. I mean,
how many days was it for the first one?
It was 9 days and then 1 extra day of pickup shots, things to kind of fill in little spaces that we're missing.
Man, I hate you. Because we're still waiting. Because I'm still waiting for this whole Corona BS to finish. Because I have like maybe 2 days of pickups for the second film, but all together, I think we spent maybe about 3 months on and off because most of my guys were wrestlers. So we have to work around their schedule. But I'm like, man, I wish I could just like 5 days here, 5 days here, and we're done. But instead it was like 2 days here, 1 day here. Okay, now we wait for 2 weeks. Oh, we got 3 days here. Oh, now 2 more weeks. I'm like, oh, son of a.
Well, was there any benefits to that? I mean,
no. It's harder because, and this is one of the things that like my wrestler, my main guy, he's a wrestler. And we were talking, and he's like, "Yeah, dude, if we ever do another film, is there a way we could block off, those 10 days that we would?" Because altogether, I think we maybe filmed for 19 days, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't 19 straight days. He's like, "Well, if we do another film, or if you bring me back for a second part, is there a way we could block off those 2-3 weeks?" He's like, "Because it's harder for me to come back and get into that mentality where we left off."
I see.
I'm like, okay. And again, he's not an actor, he's a wrestler, but being that he's a wrestler, he kind of has a little bit of an acting chop because they have to be actors in a way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was harder for them to go do whatever and then come back. And then we're like, okay, one, we had to figure out what you look like, your hair, make sure it was straight. Because he has a high and tight, so we have to make sure it's not too shaved, it's not too long. I mean, it was just so many little things we had to keep remembering. Constantly taking pictures of what they look like, where the scar was at, where the bruising was at, and I'm like, oh man, dude. So yeah, I understand what he was saying. If we could have that blocking of those 10, 20 days, whatever, versus here, there, one here, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, in some ways, it's nice that you have that little breathing room. But yeah, when you're mentioning all that stuff like continuity, like getting all that stuff, getting the mindset back, yeah, I guess that would be tough. Is it turning out good though?
Oh, I love it. I hate it, but I love it. Yeah. And this is my first action kind of drama. Again, my first one was just a horror comedy, so we didn't care if we didn't have the continuity. It was okay because we didn't care. I mean, it was a spoof kind of 80s kind of B movie. Oh, so we're like, okay, if it doesn't come out great, it's okay. We left ourselves that buffer to where it's like, we're experimenting. But with this one, I want to take it a little bit more serious. But I was like, man, it's harder. And I think we put that on ourselves instead of trying to be like, okay, move into it. We kind of just jumped into it and be like, all right, we're going to do this without any real experience of an action film. But I was like, either way, I still love it.
That's great. I mean, that takes some balls to jump into something like that, man. I mean, that's really great. And dealing with the spaced out production too. I mean, it seems like you guys got through it. You only have a couple days to go after
2 days of pickup shots. But again, I mean, those are little things that we could kind of work around. But yeah, man, a 10-day shooting schedule would have been, 9 day. You said 9 day, right?
9 days for the first run. Yeah.
What about this one, the second one?
Fast. Let me just put it this way, okay? Faster.
Faster?
Yep,
You're a
faster.
beast. You are a total beast, my friend.
Thanks. We try and hold on to this twister. We're almost flying away, but it's fun. You know what I was thinking recently, which it was what we do, you and I. It's kind of like a very expensive habit, like a expensive habit. It's fun, but it's so stressful. It's sometimes bad for your health, but it's so fun, and you can't get this high anywhere else. I mean, otherwise, I can't understand why we do it, but
yeah,
it's great. It's great.
You know what's weird? Now you're talking about that high. We had done a short film with another company. Most of my guys, we went down there. It was down in South Texas, but we stayed actually in a little encampment for 5 days. This was the first time we've ever done anything like that. They had the big trucks, the catering company, whatever. But we were there for 5 days. On that fifth day, bro, and as soon as they said, "That's a wrap," we're like, "Yeah, wait, we got to go home. What are we going to do now?" So for that month, most of us were like depressed, calling each other, like, "Dude, let's go out. Let's do something." Because even those 5 small days, we're like so high. So like from 6 in the morning to like almost 10, 11 o'clock at night. It was cold, raining. We didn't care. We loved it.
Yes.
That fifth day, we're like, oh, man, now what? So
Yeah.
it is a high.
Because you just went on an adventure with this group of people, and you have to work as like a unit, Oh man, I totally know what you're talking about. That depression, like, oh man, what are we gonna do? Yes. I kind of felt I didn't feel that way as much this time. I felt like, man, I hope everyone's gonna be okay. Like with this coronavirus, it was like in the background of everyone's thoughts. I was like, I just hope that we're okay, and that I hope no one gets it from this group. I don't know.
Now, post production, how you handling that?
I'm loving it. This is the most perfect post production, I guess, I've ever had. I mean,
better knock on wood.
Okay, yeah. This is like glass. Yeah, I mean, it's been great because everyone's quarantined anyway. So I enjoy coming to the computer. The last movie, I was editing crazy hours just because I loved it. I love doing it, but it took a toll on my health.
Yeah.
And just like my diet, I lost so much weight just like not eating and just like this movie I'm taking a little more healthily. I'm editing what I can mentally handle, and then I take a break. I go over there, I do something else in the other room. But I'm really enjoying this. It's like a puzzle. My wife and I we bought a puzzle from Target recently, just out of boredom.
Yeah.
And it was great. And I was thinking, this is really great. But I realized something. I have my own puzzle on this computer right here. And I love putting that puzzle together. I am enjoying it. So I'm not rushing this movie. What I'm doing is I'm just like tinkering here. Ooh, I like the way that looks. And then I go away. I come back. Ooh, I like the way this looks. I go away. It's actually been kind of new for me. This kind of I feel like it's a healthier approach, and I'm enjoying it. Yeah.
So now, after this, when you release it, you're gonna do the same thing. Try to hit up the conventions, or what's your plan this time around?
I definitely want to hit up the conventions again. I want to go to more than just San Diego. Anywhere that will take us. Honestly, I don't have too much control over that, but I want to try more festivals. I'm actually thinking, during this COVID-19 thing, I'm thinking about, even if that's all cleared up by the time we release it, it'd be cool to do a online premiere too.
Yeah.
One that you could do a live Q&A afterwards. And I don't exactly know. I want to do something different than the last time. I want to do something kind of unique and something fitting of 2020 in the indie world. I don't know what that is yet, but I want to do something that's fitting of 2020. And I know we're an online movie. Yeah. I love watching this movie with a crowd, though, because
it's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, same thing with our first film. When we premiered it, it was at a VFW because we shot at a VFW. It was like, fuck it, We're independent. We're gonna premiere it here.
Yeah.
And that premiere was ridiculous. Everybody was laughing. Everybody was heckling because they saw their own friends. So they were and everything, and that's a badass feeling. And then I went to another premiere, which was a festival premiere, and we had maybe about 20, 30 people that kind of just moseyed on in there because the name of the film just alone dragged them in there. And they kind of caught some of the jokes, but some of them they were like, as opposed to in the premiere, everybody's laughing because they understood the jokes. And I was like, man, dude. And now online, I see it and I see my Amazon ticker. It's like, oh, so many people watch it. I'm like, why? Why are they still watching this shit? But you know what I mean? And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. If you're going to watch it from, like you said, New Zealand or whatever for 5, 20, 30 minutes, forget it, whatever, just watch it. But yet it's not the same reaction.
Yeah.
So I get what you mean.
Yeah, that live reaction is something I wish you could bottle up. And just every time you're feeling low, just open up the bottle. It's great. It's great.
Now on San Diego, I didn't get to see that one. Did you? How was that screening? Did you like sit in the front and you had all these people in the back behind you before you went up there for the Q&A, or how was that feeling?
Well, it was really good. We had a pretty decent sized crowd. And Gina and I, my wife and I, were sitting in the front row. But sometimes I'd look back and see the people, and to my left, I could see some people reacting. It was great. Like when you hear the rows of people like laughing and getting your quirky movie. Yeah. I don't know any better feeling. I don't really know any better feeling than that. And then we did a Q&A afterwards, and that was fulfilling too. I love talking to people about movies in general. But when people are asking questions about your movie, it's like, wow, like you said, why do you care? But thank you.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling.
I don't know if you experienced it, but like me, I didn't know how many people were behind me. I heard them, but I didn't know how many people were behind me. When I turned around and the house lights went on, I was like, oh, wow, y'all motherfuckers came out. You know what I mean? And I had like this like fluttering effect, and I was like overwhelmed. How was your experience with that?
It was good. It was good. I was more thinking about, gosh, you know what? I was so happy that day. I wasn't too nervous. The lights went up, and then we were all single filing up into the stage. And I guess I just felt really comfortable because I had the whole cast and crew there, and I was just ready. I was ready. You hear their feedback. They're liking it. If they like it, you're pretty ready to talk. I was pretty ready to talk about it. I felt good. That fluttering though. Yeah. That fluttering feeling like, whoa, jeez.
Cool. Man, so Mandela returns. When do you think we'll be able to kind of start seeing some of the teasers and trailers and whatnot?
Let's see.
No pressure. No pressure.
I think in a few months I should be able to show some more from this. A couple months. I'll start releasing some behind the scenes videos too, and photos, because first of all, I love seeing that anyway from movies in general. But it's just this movie has a very interesting vibe, and I'm kind of curious to see how people like yourself and anyone who enjoyed the first movie. I'm hoping people like this one. The number one thing is I have to like it for myself. So
yeah.
I'm enjoying what I'm seeing so far. I don't know if you get this sensation when you're editing your movies or when your movie's being edited. The first time it's coming together, you're like, oh, I don't know. I'm always a little bit hard on it, but as it comes together, it starts becoming really fun, and it keeps getting tighter. It makes me want to come back to the computer more. The first few times I'm like, oh, I don't know.
It's that one scene that comes together for the first time, because I'm like you. I was putting some of the stuff together, and I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work, but it wasn't continuously put together. But then there was that one scene that I plopped into the timeline, and I kind of saw the progression, and then I saw that one scene, and I was like, yeah, it's gonna work. It's
Yeah.
gonna work. I mean,
That's the moment, when I guess that's right. One scene comes together, you're like, okay, I think we have something here. Yeah. I can relate to that.
nice. It is weird, man. Now, because we're shut in, I have to ask you: have you binge watched any other show?
No shows, literally no TV shows. I've been watching comfort food movies.
Really?
Movies that I have seen before. I'm not being adventurous. I'm doing stuff like I'm wearing, like the movies I'm watching, they're like a big, fluffy, warm blanket. That's what I'm doing. I don't know why I find myself doing that. I'm not being adventurous. I'm watching Back to the Future. I'm watching, recently we watched Lost Boys.
Great movie, man.
Lost Boys, dude. It's a great one.
I hate that they're making a TV show out of it, but
Are they?
Yeah, they were talking about making an actual TV show out of it this time. I can't remember who's in charge of it, but it was like they're trying to remake a lot of the '80s movies, and that's one of the things that we talked about on this podcast. The reboots, remakes, and relaunches. They were like, dude, none of us are fans of that. And when we heard that Lost Boys was getting redone, we're like, oh, dude, just like me and Jonathan talked about Chucky.
Yeah.
When the new Chucky is like, dude, it's not Chucky.
It's not Chucky.
It's not Chucky.
I didn't see that one. Was it? It wasn't.
You're not missing anything.
Okay.
You're good. So what's another comfort film for you?
There's this indie movie. I don't think anyone has seen it here. It's called Clara's Ghost. That movie stars, Elliot. Oh no.
Is that the one where he's in a bed sheet the whole time?
No, not that one. I want to see that one actually with Casey Affleck. I know the one you're talking about. He's in a bed sheet.
Yeah, and he's a ghost, and he's following her the whole time.
Right.
Because he's a ghost. But we watched and we're all like, shway, but it was.
Why is he wearing that ghost thing? Like, why?
Yeah, we didn't get it. So
yeah. No, the one I'm talking about is a really indie movie. I wish I knew the guy. There's something about Mary. The guy who plays the guy who gets like, okay, I'm terrible, man. You're looking it up, right?
Yes.
Clara's. That movie to me, it's just fun, and it's really,
Chris Elliott.
Chris Elliott, yep, Chris Elliott.
Chris Elliott.
Yeah, I found that one out of nowhere one day, and I really enjoyed it. And it's so low key. They just drink the whole movie and are basically terrible to each other, and I just love it. I don't know what it is about that movie. The vibe, I think.
I'm gonna have to hold on. Let me save it real quick. I'm gonna have to check it out now that you brought it up.
Have some drinks with it later. I don't know. It's a fun one to watch while sipping on something.
Okay.
How about you?
Binge watching, just dumb shows and whatnot that come out on Netflix. I think my favorite one is what is it called? It's Spanish. It's called Casa de Papel, but in English it's I can't remember what it's called in English, but it was a Spanish TV series. It didn't do so well in Spain. They had one season. Netflix picked it up, and all of a sudden it's a worldwide sensation. They're on season 3. They just capped off with a cliffhanger. But then I was watching the behind the scenes, and I was like, dude, these guys, and they were talking about, we had so much money, but they were still writing as they were shooting.
Oh.
I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's crazy. This is a TV show, and you're writing as you're going, so you don't even know where you're going because you're writing as you're shooting. That's crazy, because us as indie filmmakers, we would never do anything like that. That's crazy. That means we don't have that kind of we're going to just shoot something and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean? That's a luxury right there.
Yeah. And it was just to watch, like yourself, the behind the scenes I think are more entertaining because I get to see a lot of the dumb crap that they have to go through and they have to put up with, kind of like us. You know, I'm like, okay, they're no better than us. They just have more money.
That's
And
it. You know, that reminds me when you say, like, what are you watching? More than shows, even more than comfort movies. I've been watching a lot of behind the scenes stuff. That stuff keeps me alive, man. Like, I watched a lot of Phantasm, you know, the Phantasm series.
Yeah.
I've been watching a lot of behind the scenes on that, and I actually binged all. I've seen 4 of the 5 because number 2 is not available. But you know, that kind of indie filmmaking and passion, that stuff feeds me. Behind the scenes stuff, like that's why I have all this backlog of DVDs, a collection of DVDs. I like going back and watching the behind the scenes stuff. Like they used to pack those DVDs, right?
Yep. And all these Blu-rays are like, oh, it's a movie, and that's it. And maybe 1 or 2 special features, and it's some dude talking, but they don't show anything at all.
No, it's lazy. Yeah. We had the DVD, like the time of the DVD, the real DVD, they had so many features. And that was like, it kind of helped me as a filmmaker. When I was younger, that's why I got DVDs at the beginning. I was like, I want to see the special features. And we didn't necessarily have YouTube to check out all the behind the scenes footage, you know, that you had to go to the DVD and watch it. I encourage anyone at home who's watching this to go to your DVDs and look for some good special features. Revisit those because they're just gold.
Yeah. Especially, like you said, especially as an indie filmmaker, I think that's our class. That was our classroom growing up back then. As opposed to now, it's YouTube, and, you know. But
yeah. DVDs were the first YouTube for filmmakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, you can just go on YouTube and find it pretty much anything now. So
cool, man. Well, again, I'm looking at my time watch, and it's about that time, and I don't want to stretch it and keep you, from doing your editing or whatnot. But I do appreciate you coming on with me. I'll probably hit you up one more time, bring you back after you release your film in a couple of months, because we're just gonna talk and see what it's about, man. I'm excited. Jonathan's excited about that. He's gonna review your stuff too, because we just been talking mad stuff about the first film. So,
oh man, thank you so much for first of all, just for watching it and taking the time to do that first show on the Mandao. I listened to it a couple of times. I was like, man, these guys really get it and like it. I was thankful to hear it. I was so, I guess, really happy to hear it. So thank you guys. And I'll think about some things I can share with you guys soon. Some, I don't know, a sneak peek or some behind the scenes I want to share. So yeah, I'd love to come back on the show and talk with you.
Cool, man. Well, I do appreciate you again for being here, taking time out of your schedule, and hopefully everybody's safe out there. Stay safe.
Yeah, you too.
Keep in contact with us, keep in contact with the rest of your crew and whatnot. And again, hopefully all this works out soon so we can go back to doing what we normally do, man. And that's creating.
You can get those last pickup shots.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
All right, brother. Well, again, have a good one, man. And we'll see you back next show.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay.